And what the fuck is up, YouTube? This is Terminator Juice. It's time for another rant video. This one is going to be kind of three random things that I've been thinking about, and nothing that truly gets me angry, but I think a little bit annoying sometimes. So we'll just jump right in. So the first thing is a feature that's been advertised on the Xbox One S, the PS4 Pro, the new Roku boxes, and some people talking about it for the NX. And I'm going to give you a quick analogy before I say what it is. Imagine if car stereo, aftermarket car stereos, whatever, one of the features that was right on the box or advertised was a trip meter. So you can record the mileage for how long you get from point A to point B and test your, set your gas mileage or figure out your gas mileage. Would that be a feature? You'd be like, oh yeah, I need that. No, because every fucking car has a trip meter A and B, and some of them have a C already there. So it'd be absolutely useless. It's unnecessary. It's just a waste. And that's exactly how I feel about 4K streaming. So you might be thinking, well, if I get a 4K TV, I would want 4K streaming on my PS4 Pro. Doesn't have Ultra HD, but it has 4K streaming. Well, guess what? Go look at 4K TVs. Go to crutchfield.com and search for 4K TVs and find one that isn't a smart TV. Go ahead. You can pause the video, go there and find one that isn't a smart TV. And you're like, well, what is that? What's a big deal? Well, smart TVs have Netflix, they have Hulu, they have YouTube, they have HBO Go, they have everything that your Xbox One S or your PS4 Pro is going to have in the 4K streaming category. And why wouldn't you just use the PS4 Pro one? I'm already playing my Horizon Zero Dawn. Why would I, get out to go to my TV's YouTube or Netflix? Well, you don't have to get out. First of all, it's like a pop-up menu, just like a home button on your Xbox Ones and PS4s. You can go right to Netflix. You don't have to get out of anything. It just pops up and it takes over your screen. So it takes no time at all. The second thing is you can have your picture adjustments set for, let's say, your PS4 Pro for gaming. If you're smart, you turn off the motion flow, so you don't have anything affecting, the game and how you're seeing it. And, you want to, let's say 4K Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's say you can put the brightness a little bit down, your HDR TV or whatever. You need to drop your colors down a little bit. Well, then if you used Netflix through your PS4 Pro, going to your same HDMI input, to your TV, the picture settings are going to be set for that input. They don't care if you're on Netflix on your PS4 Pro or if you're playing a game. And then if you're streaming, you might want to have the motion flow on here. You might want to have the colors up higher. So if you use the TV's built-in smart TV features, those will have, I don't know if it'll be a separate one for each one. It shouldn't be. Just for any of your apps, there should be a picture adjustment that saves. So let's say you go to Netflix and you bump the colors up and you put the motion flow on. It should be on Hulu and YouTube as well. But when you go back to your HDMI 1 input or go back to your PlayStation 4 Pro, you have the picture settings for that input that's ideal for gaming. So there's really no reason to ever use Netflix or Hulu or anything on those separate devices when you have a smart TV, because why do you want 4K streaming if you don't have a 4K TV? So you have a 4K TV, you have a smart TV, especially Roku. Like, that's the dumbest thing, because Roku is just there for people who don't have smart TVs, who want a smart TV like features. So it's absolutely stupid to go out and buy a Roku box with 4K streaming if you have a 4K TV. It has built-in 4K streaming. It's just the dumbest thing, and I just see it gets advertised on the Xbox One S at the end of every ad of 4K streaming. Like I said, that'd be like a car stereo that has a trip meter. Like, it's so unnecessary and so useless. You could use it, but I gave you a pretty good reason not to, because if you care at all about picture quality or, the ideal gaming experience, you don't want anything on that maybe would benefit a streaming video, and it just keep them separate, and then you can have ideal viewing for both sources. So just a little bit of advice there from a guy who's been researching TVs for over 18 years and helping people buy TVs all the time. Trust me, use your internal. If you go out and buy a 4K TV, use the internal Netflix, use the internal YouTube apps. They'll be better. You don't have a separate device. You don't have an HDMI cord. There's no room for error. Like, it's just built in. It's just the smart way to do it. Do it that way. Now, the only exception would be a 4K monitor. Let's say, I think OJ just bought a 4K monitor for his computer. He might hook his PS4 Pro up to that. But again, if you got it hooked to a computer and you can do 4K gaming, you're going to be able to do 4K streaming through your PC. So it's, again, just another unnecessary thing, doing something that your PC already does. And again, with the picture setting thing, you know, depending on what monitor you get, I would also just avoid streaming or doing anything other than gaming on your game console for best picture quality. So that's the first thing. Doesn't really anger me or anything, but I shake my head every time I see 4K streaming. And what pushed me over the edge was the Roku advertisement for their new box with 4K streaming. And it's just like, why are you buying a Roku box when you have a smart TV? It's just one of those marketing things. It's just people in suits. They're just trying to trick the consumers. Think everyone's dumb. So I'm here to enlighten some people. And if the NX gets revealed, I hope it doesn't have 4K streaming, because like I said, if I'm going to buy a 4K TV, I'm not going to use my NX for Netflix. Trust me, you shouldn't either. All right, so the next thing, and I already kind of talked about this on a couple podcasts ago. You remember, I think it was like September 20th or something, early, maybe even before then, a verified user on Reddit said the NX was going to be revealed on September 28th. Okay. And I said, well, where's the ramifications? Well, this guy's no longer trustworthy. It's just forgotten. Now we got a verified user, saying he works for a retailer, and these are all the things about the NX, and it's believed because it's verified. And now we got another person saying October 21st for the reveal. It's like every week not every week, but almost every week we're getting a new prediction. And it's like, well, they got the PS4 Pro prediction right. They had the reveal date right. That's Sony. They leak, everything gets leaked. I mean, when has this person predicted something? Nintendo, that wasn't data mined, something that wasn't on their website or in their system, that like the Ryu and Smash Brothers and stuff. If it's not data mined, when of these verified users ever predict anything about the NX? And we don't know what the NX is, so I mean, you can't say, well, they gotten stuff right before, not about the NX, unless they said Breath of the Wild was going to be a split release, which Red Knight said that, like, over, what day was that? I'm trying to remember. It was last year, probably over a year ago now. Red Knight fucking predicted that. So I don't want to hear it. So that's just, to me, it's like when I hear verified user on Reddit, like, it's like that means nothing. If that means something to you, I feel sorry for you, because that's just the stupidest thing. Anybody can fake anything so easily. And it's like, these people have nothing on the line. If they get it wrong, it's not like, oh, these people got it wrong. It's like, oh, well, they still got something right in the past. Like, just shut up with all that verified user bullshit. That means absolutely nothing. It's all just speculation. And I got to give Nintendo props for keeping this thing so secret that everybody's got to make stuff up, man. I figured the longer it went on, something would finally get leaked, but at this point, I don't think anything's been leaked, honestly. So, but the October 21st makes sense, because it's the 5th year anniversary of the first Nintendo Direct, and because I predicted October 20th, so that would make me pretty damn awesome. And I predicted that a few weeks ago, almost a month ago now. So yeah, verified users. That's what I have to say about those. The next one, And sorry, OJ, I brought you up earlier, but this time I just you said you went too far with something, and I could have tried to do a debate. Or I don't like to do debates, but in his last video, he said Nintendo needs to modernize some of their franchises, evolve them into more like modern games, and he threw out Metroid and Fallout 4 and make it more like Fallout 4, and I forget the other game, and I'm just like, I face palmed. First of all, why the hell do, and it's not just him, there's other people. Why do you want Nintendo to turn their franchises into other franchises like third-party multiplats and stuff? Zelda needs to be more like Skyrim, and in this game, back in the day, Sonic's beating Mario. Mario should be more like Sonic. I'm sure there's people saying Zelda needs to be more like Final Fantasy. I wish Zelda was more like Final Fantasy. Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. But I know the people who were the Sega fanboys were saying how awesome Sonic is and stuff. Did Nintendo go and try to mimic Sonic? No. They made Mario 64 and they set a new standard for 3D platformers, a new genre, and how it should be played. Assassin's Creed 4 director even said that they still go back to Mario 64, and he said Wind Waker for the sailing parts, just to be reminded of the proper way to do a 3D character, or a character in a 3D space, and how he should move, and we're still inspired by Mario 64. So, but getting back to the Metroid thing, Metroid's Metroid. Like you wanted a game where you level up your character and you have to go grind against mutant zombies and do side quests and stuff, that to make a new IP. Don't fuck with my Metroid. Zelda Breath of the Wild, you can say, oh, it's got this and this. It doesn't have a leveling system. It doesn't have XP. It's got weapons that you can find. It's got food you can craft, but Skyward Sword had stuff, crafting and upgrading your weapons. That's not Skyrim. Zelda's always had open worldness to it. This is the first one that's like no loading open world, other than the initial load and if you fast travel. But you can evolve a series without making it like something else. Zelda didn't become, like I said, Final Fantasy. It became Ocarina of Time, one of the greatest games of all time on almost everybody's list, and set standards for Z targeting, and put a auto jump to kind of free up the buttons, and assigned other buttons with different weapons, which Zelda's done before, and made a Zelda game in a 3D world, 3D environment that felt like Zelda, but still evolved the series and still felt new. It didn't feel like anything else. Did Ocarina of Time play like anything else at the time? I mean, yeah, there's a small element here, maybe a small element here, but people don't sit there and call Ocarina of Time like it was a ripoff of something else. I've never heard anybody say that. So you got to let Nintendo evolve the series into something new, and not just sit there and it's a little bit closed-minded to just look at something else that works and say, do that. Look at Super Mario 64 to Super Mario Sunshine. What'd they do next? Super Mario Galaxy. What did that do? It was game of the generation. It took Mario in a whole new place, unlike anything we've seen before, with gravity adjusting on small planetoids where you can run up around it upside down. And then there's 2D levels where the gravity would change. There was like dividing lines. If you jumped, then you would be pulled to the ceiling, and all these new things that there's no other game like that. Yeah, there might be one little thing here or there that maybe was borrowed from other games, whatever. But the way they combine things into one and give you something new and fresh, that's what you should be hoping for Nintendo to do. And I mean, I hear tons of people saying Nintendo needs to wake up to the times, and especially with features and hardware. And I've always said, I don't want Nintendo to be a third twin. I want them to still be Nintendo. And it just gets me, like, if you're a fan of Nintendo and if you're a fan of something, why do you want all these things to be like something else? It's like I tried to make this point on a podcast with Leveled Head, and I said, don't say you like Quentin Tarantino's style of directing or his films and say, but I wish he'd do more lens flare and quippy one-liners. I don't want Quentin Tarantino to be J.J. Abrams. I want to be Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, if he gets, I think he's done a couple, movies below his capability, especially the last one. But I still like his style. I don't want him to become Steven Spielberg and do like gritty, realistic war and all this slow stuff happening, and then a few memorable things, and then kind of a weak ending. That's Steven Spielberg for the most part always has weak endings to his movie. I want Quentin Tarantino to be Quentin Tarantino and make a new movie that he would make. I want Nintendo to be Nintendo, do something new, but do a Nintendo thing with it. And it's like, just specifically, I guess, if OJ is watching this, how would you feel if somebody said, Nintendo needs to evolve their franchise. They make Smash Brothers needs to be more like Mortal Kombat. It needs to be more like Street Fighter 5. It needs to just be one-on-one. It needs to have a health meter instead of KOs. And it's not Smash Brothers anymore. And I'm just sick of hearing this stuff. You either like Nintendo or you don't. You like Nintendo, you like some of their games, that's cool. Yeah, I would love to see them take Fire Emblem from like the portable aspect and make a full-fledged Fire Emblem game and find a way to make it work instead of like the turn-based stuff, because I don't really love turn-based. But I'm not going to say that to Fire Emblem fans. Yeah, I want your game to change so it's not a turn-based strategy game anymore. I want it to be an open world like GTA with Fire Emblem characters. Like, that makes no sense. Then I don't want it to be a Fire Emblem game, then I'm not a fan of it, because I like it enough, but I don't love it. So the only reason I'd want it to change is because I don't love it. And how would Terrell feel if I told him, I want Fire Emblem to become something like Grand Theft Auto with Fire Emblem characters? Like, to me, that's insulting to the fans, and it just shows that I don't love Fire Emblem. And it's just like I'm just to the point where I'm done with hearing people say they're fans of something, but they want all these things to change. Yeah, there's no harm in adding like cross game chat or whatever to a Nintendo console. Like, it doesn't bother me. That's not changing who Nintendo is, But if they did it and kept it free, that would be Nintendo. That would be something Nintendo would do. If they did it and started charging, then I'm going to be like, I'm not paying for that. But whatever, it's just one of those things, let Nintendo evolve their franchises, especially the way they've always done, because they've always done a great job. But then sometimes they do it and they'll make a change, like Star Fox. They'll completely change the control scheme, or Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. They'll change the style, and everyone's like, I just want a standard Kirby game. I just want a standard Star Fox game that controls like Star Fox game. It's like, you can't have it both ways. Now, for me, Kirby, those games are always boring because they're so easy. Rainbow Curse was actually something fresh, and I enjoyed it. Star Fox, I didn't love Star Fox 64. I liked the original. I thought 64 was just a little whatever. It's a little boring. And never gripped me. Star Fox Zero challenged me with something new, and I like it. I like it a lot better than Star Fox Zero or Star Fox 64. So, sometimes change is good, but you can't say make it more like a standard game, a standard Kirby game, or a standard this game, and then say, well, you got to turn Metroid into, an open world RPG with a leveling and this and that, and get rid of, weapon upgrades and being able to go back and get a power up because now you have the spider ball. Like, then it's not Metroid anymore. You don't like Metroid if you want it to change that significantly. So that's going to be it for this, I guess, rant. And no offense to anyone. It's just my personal opinion and how I feel. And that's going to be it for this one. We'll see you next time.